and g'day mate, welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, Jetty, and of course, the wonderful Mr. Icarus. Now, last episode, we came out to this redstone planet, and we needed to come out here to get organic crystals, and through some, creative uses of my time, we managed to grab both organic crystals and oil. We didn't have a lot of oil. So on this planet, we have popped out here and sort of covered all the veins and grabbed all the oil, and oh, there's some organic crystals. Set up organic crystal, and of course we've used our lovely blueprint that we have available to put down power, and power's actually doing all right. Sure, as we keep mining the planet heavier and heavier, maybe power might become a problem in the future, but at the moment everything's pretty much backed up. At the same time, we have picked up just a few organic crystals and just a tiny bit of wood and just a fraction of plant matter, and also sulfuric acid, titanium, stone. Actually, stone I've generally been putting in the town, but we've picked up some other things, and I've thrown most of them on the ground, and we're going to click that button and make them all go away. In fact, we picked up 6,000 wood and almost 10,000 plant fuel, and then another 10,000 logs, and then another 10,000 logs. I think eventually I'm going to have to get to the stage where I start burning off logs, but for right now we have just a tiny bit of logs and other things in storage, and I've put them in towers. That way at some later stage we can remotely request them out of these towers and get rid of them. But we have set up this planet thoroughly and mined everything. Now, even with advanced miners, it still takes about 20, 25, 30 minutes to cover the whole planet. I've actually found out the thing that takes longest is stretching the power poles. Even with using the wind turbines for extra power generation and also draggable power poles, it still takes quite some time. But we have covered this planet, we have mined out this planet. Also means that now we have organic crystals mined directly, plus what we have in the tower, which is going to end up going into this tower to then get dragged off planet. We should be covered for a little while. So with that out of the way, first thing I need to do is I also need to thank the SW fan for liking the videos, because that's something you should be doing right about now. Also subscribing to the channel, because you should definitely subscribe right about now as well, because today's episode we're going to be going and working on purple science. Last episode we've done yellow science, prior to that we've done red and obviously blue. So today's episode is going to be purple. And the SW fan took the extra initiative and went one step further and went and clicked the join button and became a member of the channel, which I thank very, very much, because as I keep saying, membership's cheap. It's only like $1 per month, and you get early access to videos. You link your Discord account to your YouTube account, and then come join our Discord server. The bot's like, oh, you're a very important person. I'll give you access to the very, very important lounge. We get early access to videos. But we need to head back to our RID system, because on the RID system, who is also a lovely YouTube member, we need to set up purple science. Now, purple science is going to be a little bit of a nightmare, even more so if I can't get Icarus to accelerate up speed. There we go. So we need to head over to the RID system. Now, RID system and purple science, yeah, like I said, bit of a nightmare. So purple science has two components. It has the processors, also has the particle broadband. And we're going to actually treat it like two separate things entirely, because that's just going to be the easiest way to get things up and running. So we're going to try and, in one episode, I figure we'll do it in one episode, build out, hang on, let's check these. Alright, so we're going to set you up for remote demand, because I now can. Now we have a planet covered in oil products, and you need organic crystals, and that filter was missing. So with that filter missing, we're now going to have two lots of yellow science, one being the basic, one being the basic build, one being the advanced build, and we need to do the same with purple science. And like I said, we're going to split purple science into two separate halves. If we bring up the blueprint overlay, we can see this is the equatorial line, which for some reason has a dent in it. I'm not sure why, but yes, has an equatorial line. So we're going to attempt research to build. I need how many lamps? 18. So I'm going to go 3, 6, 9, plus 3, 6. That's wrong. 9. Okay, we're going to have 18 lamps. Okay, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is we need 2 input belts for... No, step number 2 is set the recipe. And we're going to turn off that overlay because we don't need them to flash it to say they have no power. We have 2 different ingredients. One is the processors, the other is the particle broadband. So we're going to assume that our 1 belt comes from one direction, carrying processors. 1 comes from the other direction, carrying particle broadband. The other important things we're going to make an assumption for this particular time around is we're going to assume that we have tier 2 belts because we've done yellow science. We're further into the game. We're definitely at the stage where I don't have to use tier 1 belts for everything. It's getting darker. Let's turn on the headlights the way we go. So we're going to also assume, yeah, we're using tier 2 belts at this stage because you should be able to afford them. Can I put stone in there, please? Thank you. And I also know I'm going to run out of those if I'm not careful. Remote to band. Perfect. All right. So I want to actually start over here somewhere. And I want to start smelting. And we're only talking about smelting just for the processes. Okay. So we are also making a puzzle. At least that's how I like to look at it. Okay. So we need to handle... For purple science, I need to make processors. Processors have 2 components. They have circuit boards, which requires iron and copper. They also have microcrystalline components, which requires copper and silicon. On top of that, we're only mentioning very, very briefly, is under the particle broadband, which we're actually going to make the advanced recipe this time around. We have carbon nanotubes, which require... Spinnerform, that's the one. We have the crystal silicon, which you can make from silicon, okay? But you can also make it from fractal silicon. So we're going to use the fractal silicon recipe this time around. Plus we need plastic, which means I need to put in a whole oil build. But it does mean that I want to start my processes with iron and copper, and then go, well, iron and copper smelting wise, and then copper, and then silicon. So if one was to make crystal silicon using silicon, we'd have the 2 silicon lines beside one another, because that's going to be the very first part of the next build that we're going to build. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right, so what I want to do is production. I want smelters. For iron, and again, we're planning these out to do... We want a build that does 2.5 science per second, but we're actually planning them out to do 4 science per second. Okay, so it's easy to upgrade just by doubling the smelters and doubling the speed of the machines. Assemblers, super easy to double. We just, put down a Mark 3 rather than a Mark 2. Smelters, it's easier just to double up the smelters. And chem plants and other things, well, that's a separate story entirely. Okay, so we want to proliferate our iron, okay? We are going to need to do 2 information matrices per second, because each one needs 2 processors. We need like 3.4 processors per second, okay? Each processor requires 2 circuit boards, so we need 3.4, and then we double it again. It's like 7-ish per second. So that's what we're aiming for. Around about 7 of these guys per second, which means I need, and again, we get a 20% bonus each time we go around. So, we need about 7. You take 20% off that, it's like 6 point something. And then iron would need like 6 point something iron-ish. And then if we take the 20% bonus off it, we need, whatever it happens to be. Which, I'm telling you right now, the maths is we need 8 of these. We need 7 and a bit of these, but we're going to put in 8. Okay, so that's iron. Making sense so far? I haven't making sense so far. Next thing is I want copper. And I can already tell you that we need 6, 9, 12 smelters doing copper. There's one catch with that. Because we're proliferating it, we're actually going to get out 20% extra products. Which means I can't put 12 in a row. Okay? I can put 10 in a row, and then the extra 20% gets us from 10 per second up to 12 per second, which the max a belt can move. Or I can split the smelters in half, which is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to be building... we're going to build 4. Doing... Actually, how much more do I need? Oh. Okay, we're going to be building... or input here, and have the output on this side. And then I need the other 8. And those 8 have a separate output belt, which is going to feed in to our microcrystalline components, okay? And conveniently, I'll bring about 12 ore in, just under, and I'll output 12 ore in, and I'll output about 14 plate out, because that 20% proliferation bonus, because we're proliferating everything. So we can have them share one line, which is great. It just simplifies things a little bit. Now, silicon. Okay, so we have microcrystalline components. Microcrystalline components require, for every one of these, they require 2 silicon. Which means as we have basically a belt worth of copper, it means we need basically 2 and a bit belts worth of silicon. Which is well, 2. Let's just go with 2. So, nope, not there. I need you to move down a tile. We're going to have an output belt. You are going to be doing silicon, please. And I need a total of 30 of these guys. So, that's 10. Can we even things up a little bit? I need 30. So I'd have to build 10, which requires its own input line of silicon, plus another input line of silicon, because silicon is special that you need 2 silicon ore for 1 silicon ingot. So then we need to duplicate this again. And then this has only produced half a belt worth of silicon, high purity silicon, not silicon ingots, high purity silicon. But then it means I need another half a belt. So that's 30? Crap, I need 31 of them. I guess we could do that. I guess we just put the extra 1 on one of these builds. Or we just put the extra on. Let's put the extra on all of them, just to simplify our life in the future. Because our grand plan is eventually, when we're done, we'll be removing half the smelters and leaving a gap where half the smelters were. So we indicate to future me and future you that you need to build the smelters out to this length if you want to double the size. Okay, so that becomes our ore in. So let's drop that there. That there, and that's definitely in the right spot. That there. Okay, so we have ore in and then items out. Okay, and proliferator length, because this is the part where things actually matter. There, and there. Oh no, I missed one. And there. Okay, so we have to come from the start of our smelters, which actually we're going to end up having to move all these proliferators to that tile. Okay, so all these proliferators need to move to there, there, and there. So let's grab this tool, and we're just going to trim everything from there to there. I sort of want an extra tile. Just 1 extra tile. Okay. So this is how far it has to be at the front, and this is how far it has to be at the rear. Okay, we've worked out our minimum area that our smelters will take up, and we've also worked out our width. Like, it's missing sorters and other things, but we can go through and fix those in a second. But from there, we need to work out the next piece of the puzzle, which is actually, the actual labs and science, the actual making the components. So we need, I need 12 machines. So 3, 6, 9, 12. That's unfortunate. Let's go this way. 3, 6, 9, 12. 12. Okay, I need 12 of you guys to make processors. So let's set up that. And we'll just confirm 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay. Now, processors obviously require a belt out So let's get that first, which will have to come up here to where we're proliferating things, and then back down. Okay, plus they're going to require the inputs being circuit boards plus microcrystalline components. As we have proliferator juice at the end of the smelters, that should be doable without too much trouble. Should be doable? Should be doable. Should be doable. Okay, next up we need... no, we need more room. We need to make... actually, let's do the circuit boards. Circuit boards should be easy. They are 4 assemblers. Again, we need an output, which needs to come up a certain amount of the way, and then let's just tag that in there. That should work. Okay, and we also need the 2 inputs, one being iron, one being copper, and we can see that circuit boards require 2 iron for every 1 copper, so we're actually going to even go as far as marking these belts, so we know what they are, because the actual order matters. As for, these guys, it's 2 and 2, so it doesn't matter which ends up on which belt. For circuit boards, it actually matters, because one item you use a lot more of than the other item. Okay, and then we have this much room to build, basically, microcrystalline components, which is probably good, as we need... Processors was 12. This is actually 13. 13? 13. Okay, so we know from there to there is 12. But I actually think what I want to do is I want to change this up and run our belts differently. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to bring our 2 silicon lines beside one another. Okay, we're going to put our spray coater here, because we're now at the point where we're trying to work out how to build the puzzle. At the same time, we're trying to neaten up the puzzle and slot the pieces together. Okay, so I need 13 of these. Go away. So we're going to start here. I need the copper belt to come to there, and then the microcrystalline components to come out. Okay, which means my sprayer's got moved forward a few tiles, so we need to account for that everywhere. Okay, that should be enough room. So we're going to set your recipe to be microcrystalline components. We're going to remove you. I'm going to start you there, and like I said, I need 13 of them, which is going to end up being 14. So we're going to go with 3, 6, 7, and then 7. So once we've removed those, we're going to remove that. We're going to take the rest of the silicon and pass it around the back. Okay, because we know we need 2 belts. Once it's fully upgraded, we need 2 belts worth of silicon. Okay. We know that, again, we're going to have to mark some belts as we go, just so we can keep track of what's what. Silicon there, and then that becomes microcrystalline components, which are going to get sprayed on the way out. Okay? Remove that. So then that leaves iron and copper for our processors, and that's it. Okay, so iron and copper, ideally, I want to spray here and here. Okay, so to do that, it should be as easy as grab the belts and run them into there. Should be. And then we can maintain this straight line. But that does mean that the microcrystalline component belt has to come up and above. So we're just going to copy that, tag that right there at the end. We're going to tag the copper there. We're going to tag the iron there. And then we're going to leave that project for just a minute, because I need to move these guys. We need 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 of them need to run the belt up to here at least, before running it back down. So we can put in our next sprayer. And... okay, hang on. Let's look at this problem. So, Our smelters are this wide. Obviously, I'd like to make things, you know, make the build only as wide as the smelters. So we probably need to look at this. Okay, can I move things a couple of tiles? So you're a straight belt. For the record, you are 100% straight. So if we move you up a tile, and then up a tile, and then bring that in there, that saves us a little bit of space. That little bit of space we can use to move that belt out of the way. It also comes to up a tile, and we're just going to leave that there for the moment. Okay. I really would really like to copy. No, I'd really like to remove all the excess stuff. I'd really like to copy that and paste it right here. No, right there. Okay, hang on. Let's remove that. That would be ideal. So, that just means I need to get this copper belt in, down, and in. And that iron belt in, down, and in. Which means this goes away, that goes away, that goes away, that goes away, and that goes away. Except, we don't have enough room for this to get out and do a turn. So, I either need to find one extra tile, or we need to move everything down one extra tile. And I think for neatness sake, copy everything, we're going to paste everything, we're going to use this particular modded decom planner, because I should be able to just chop everything like that, paste, and as long as I line those dots up so they overlap by one, we can paste it back down. Perfect! Okay, so let's mark the belt. You are going to be that. Okay, so we've got to here. Now, processors. Like I said, need 2 inputs and then an output, and the output has to be sprayed. So we're going to remove all of that for the moment. We're going to look through our options. So we need to bring in, no, I need to bring in stone, go away. We need to bring in, to make a processor, I need to bring in 2 items and output 2 items. Okay, so we could we? We could. We could run the circuit boards down one side. Okay. We could also, to keep things symmetrical, run the microcrystalline component around the outside. We already know we need 12 of them, which means if I change you to that and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that would be the whole build. Slightly shorter than this build. Oh, we could probably move it down further if we wanted. Yeah, look, let's just move it down 1 tile. For no other reason than to move it down 1 tile. Okay, and then if we bring these 2 belts around, we can actually take that way, that way. We need an output belt, which we're going to do right down the middle. And we're going to bring it up to here, and then we're going to loop it back and get it out there somewhere. Like that. That'll do. Okay, then we're going to grab you guys. We're going to run our 6. And then these 2 belts, 1 and 2, like that, should be able to feed everything back in into the processor build. So, how wide are you? The same width as that plus a tile. I call that pretty good. Like, I don't see where we could steal a tile. Actually, you know what? It won't help us steal a tile, but we're going to put those 6 there. We're going to bring that belt up to there. We're going to bring that belt to there, which then means I'm going to spray this and then run the output CPUs along the side. Okay, so that should be our build. So the only thing we have to do is we have to go sorters, in, and drag, sorter in, oh no, hang on. You're going to be special because you guys are going to share a belt. So we're going to go in on one side, out on the same side, drag, In on the other side, and drag. We're gonna go. You guys are not sharing a belt. Cool. That's one row. In, and in. Drag that row along and drag that row along. Here we're gonna go in. Nope. Out. In. You're gonna do an out. You're gonna do an in. You're gonna do an in and an in. And then it should be microcrystalline done. Microcrystalline done. You guys should be done there. You're gonna need 1 copper every 1 second. And you move 1 copper every 0.75 seconds. And you technically don't move enough either. Okay, so technically, you guys actually have to be tier 2. I want to try and keep things as cheap as possible. So you do... No. Downgrade you. Downgrade. Okay. You do a trip every 1.5 seconds. And every 1.5 seconds... Every 1 second I need 2. Oh, you know, you do 1.5 trips per second. Okay, so I'd either need... So what we're going to do is we're going to go 2 of the cheap ones for the input of the iron and 1 of the Mark IIs for the copper, and then also 2 for the output for the circuits. Okay, that'll get us the numbers we need. Plus we're going to go in, out, in, and then drag that down there, drag that down there. We're going to have a marker there, your microcrystalline components being that one, your processors, you are silicon and silicon. We need to make a line across here. Let's go with this line. So your silicon, your... Actually, no. Let's go with... here, where this power pole is. Okay, so your silicon and silicon. You are silicon ore. The reason I mark these belts is to make your life as easy as possible and my life as easy as possible, because don't forget, these blueprints are going to be available on my Discord server. Link is, you know, down in the description on your screen, and it means that we should, at least as far as purple science is concerned, be able to plop this down in its current iteration and do half of purple science, you know, half the recipes for purple science. Okay, we need to do power, plus power and power. I always try and get a power pole right near the proliferator sprayers. We need power pole there. Let's go with a power pole there and a power pole there. Power pole there, power pole there. We're going to overdo the power poles a little bit, because occasionally when you're placing down a blueprint, as the curvature of the planet changes, sometimes a power pole that did connect to something doesn't quite have the range anymore. So we're going to overdo the power poles, because again, like I said, I want to overdo things rather than underdo things so they just work time and time again. We'll put a power pole there, there, and there. The other thing we're going to do, especially when it comes to power poles, is we're going to make sure that we put the power poles as an indication of where to build the smelters to. Okay, so like this one would have a power pole here. We're going to put one there, okay, because that's going to say, hey, that's it. That's as far as you need to build the smelters. Because originally, don't forget, these are going to come with half as many smelters. So we have built the smelters to do 4 items per second. We've built the assemblers to do 2 items per second, but if we were to upgrade all the assemblers to Mark III, then the whole build would end up doing 4 per second. So, like this copper belt, for example, is going to only have that many smelters on it. We're going to actually build it from the other end. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, which then means that belt goes away, and we would have power pole there, and a power pole there. And this has actually been missing. Dyson Sphere level 6. Oh, is that finally the last one? Is that the last one? No, wrong one. Technologies. Okay, so we've finished off the normal tech tree. It's done and dusted. That just leaves us universe, and then after we've done universe, we can go on with the infinite tech, which is fine because there's a number of the ones I want. Like faster vessels, more veins utilization, all that sort of stuff. But it also means, just as importantly, I can start building a Dyson Sphere around this star or any other star, because I have some blueprints I wish to put down, and I have asked those lovely people on my Discord server, if you have a blueprint for a Dyson Sphere you'd like to share, please do, because they're going to be the ones we're going to be building in this particular series. But we're far enough into the episode that I'm going to say this... Copy. This is our final build. Maybe not with the giant belt hanging out the end. We're going to paste that. We're going to go deconstruct. We're going to say everything between there and there can go away. Oh, missed some. That can go away. Obviously, I didn't leave enough clearance. And there's a stone vein right there. So if I put this blueprint right about... Hang on, where's that equatorial line? Right there. So we're going to put this blueprint here. And Icarus is getting stuck on the things he's building straight away. At the same time, I'm going to press J. Thank you. We're going to want to copy from there to there, which I want to put there. Plus the tile. No, it should be right there. We're going to remove all of that, and that's going to be today's little project done. Okay, we have plugged everything together. The only thing I had to do was bring that belt into there, like so. Mark this one with processors. So that's our processor builder in. It does mean in the next episode I have this much area, which should be hopefully enough, to build particle broadband. Particle broadband requires plastic, which means we need a whole oil build with refineries, the whole works. It needs crystal silicon, which we are going to definitely be using the advanced recipe with the fractal silicon, which is made in assembler from memory. No, made in a smelter. Plus we need to make carbon nanotubes with the advanced recipe from spiniform stalagmite, which is miles easier than the normal recipe, requiring more graphene and more titanium. But this is where we're going to call it here for this episode. I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty proud of this little half build. And by all means, you know, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, so you can definitely catch the next episode, where we get to build the other half of the build, which looks that much more impressive if you turn off the flashy lights and it doesn't complain it has no power. Yeah, I can't complain. Like, all the belts look neat. It's nice. It's fine. It's done. And oh, I didn't mark these belts. The only thing you'd have to do is, even if you're on your home planet, just work out where to get the resources from. You know, plug in several belts in the start of the blueprint. Off it goes. Or your other option is going to be what we've been doing on this playthrough so far, is plug in some towers and just import it, because we're in the super late game. We have that advantage. We're going to roll with that advantage. Anyway, like I said, this is what I'm going to call it for here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next episode, where we try and get some particle broadband punched out real quick. Anyway, that's it. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Bye.